Okay, so three broad sections in this chapter. 1 to 12 is knowing Krishna in full. 13 to 25, surrender to Krishna. 26 to 30, how the soul gets liberated by knowledge of Krishna. So we are in the second section right now, and we'll try and finish that, and we'll also finish the third section, surrender to Krishna. And we discussed in our last class those who surrender to others. And then today we'll also discuss how the soul gets liberated. So let's do a quick recap. Those who surrender to others. So if you remember, let's open our Bhagavad Gita also. Let's do a little recap from before this section also, starting from 7.14 or maybe 13, where Krishna says, deluded by the three modes, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. 7.14, Krishna says, Daivihi Esha Gunamayi, how we can transcend Maya by surrendering to Krishna. And then 7.15, four kinds of impious people who don't surrender to Krishna. So those were the Dushkritinos. Then there was 7.16, where Krishna talks about four kinds of pious people who do surrender, which is 7.16. And then out of them, in 7.17, Krishna says how Jnani is the best. So four kinds of pious people who do surrender is Artho, Jnani, Artharthi, and Jignasu. Right? Artho, Jignasu, Artharthi, and Jnani. And out of all those four, Jnani is the one who's the best. And then all of them are magnanimous, but Jnani is like my own self. Again, he expands on that in 7.18. 7.19, rarity of a pure devotee. And that there, Bahunam Janmanamante. So that there Krishna is talking about Kevala Bhakti, a pure devotee who is very rare, who surrenders to Krishna after many, many lifetimes. So that person in knowledge, he surrenders to Krishna, knowing him to be the cause of all causes. And then in our last class, where we started from 20th verse, let's look at the recap. Those who surrender to others. So four kinds of people who surrendered to Krishna, four kinds of people who don't surrender to Krishna. And then Krishna talks about some people who do surrender, but not to him, but to others. So those are the Devatas. So 20th to 23rd verse, surrender to demigods, those whose intelligence is illusioned by surrender, is illusion surrender, but to demigods. Getting their temporary rewards, they go to the planets of the demigods, but Krishna's devotees go to his eternal planets. And today we'll look at the second class of people, where those who do surrender and not to Krishna, and not to the Devtas, but they are the impersonalists, meaning they believe that there is this impersonal form of the absolute truth, which is supreme-most, more supreme than the personal feature of the Lord. And these are the impersonalists. And Krishna will go into more detail about who these people are and what they believe in. Okay, so 7.19, Krishna says Mam Prapadyate, which is the word that he uses for himself. 7.19, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanaman Mam Prapadyate, blank,
Vasudeva
Sarvamati,
Sarvamati
Vasudeva.
Vasudeva. So this is, he talks about Mam, and then 7.20, he says Prapadyate, Anya,
Devta.
Anya Devata.
Demigods.
And then he says, Tam tam niyamam asthaya prakritya niyataha swaya. One follows the rules according to one's own nature, and they worship these devatas. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is, as Super Soul, is also present within the blank of the devatas.
Devtas.
As hearts of the
Hearts of the
devtas.
devas.
Both devtas and living entity are dependent on the Lord's
Remember, present. The both devas and lords.
supreme will. Sorry, supreme will. Krishna is not
Lord's-
rejecting worship of other devtas, and he's also not rejecting the people who are worshippers of other devtas. Krishna is not concerned with his own glorification, rather, he's concerned with our
Welfare.
Welfare.
elevation, or welfare. By
Innovation.
worshipping the devtas,
Elevation.
one gets elevated from lower modes to higher modes. Krishna thus facilitates one's elevation by giving blank to the devtas and blank to their worshippers.
Devotion. Devotion.
Devotion to the devtas?
Like inspiration, like to
I bestow. I bestow.
So, to the devtas, he gives powers,
Oh,
right?
Oh,
And to
I
the
see.
worshippers, he
Devotion.
gives the
Faith.
faith.
oh, okay.
Endowed with such a blank, he endeavors to worship a particular devta and obtains his desires.
Such a person.
Faith?
Faith, wonderful.
Faith. Yeah.
Me
But in
alone.
actuality, these benefits are bestowed by
alone.
me
Me,
alone.
yeah.
Okay, and we saw this verse from the Bhagavatam, Akamaha sarva kamova moksha kama udaradhi tivrena
Tivrena
bhakti
bhakti yogena
yajeta purusham param. So whether one has, with the one who has broader intelligence, whether he's full of material desires or without material desires or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the personality of Godhead. And also from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, we saw this verse, Ekale Ishvara Krishna Arasa Vabhritya Yare Yaiche Nachaye Se Taiche Kare Nritya. Okay, and somebody in 3-4 sentences, you have to speak about this pastime. First, tell us who are the characters in this pastime, and then give us the story in short, 4-5 sentences. We did this in our last class.
Bhasmasura.
That's Sahadev, Duryodhan,
Mhm.
and the
Amavasya.
Brahmanas. Yeah.
And Krishna,
Krishna, yeah. And
Pandits.
then there's
priests,
Pandits, and then there's sun
Surya
god
Chandra, and the
Surya
priests.
and
Surya Chandra.
moon.
Okay, tell us what the pastime is.
So, Mataji, it is that when
Quick,
Duryodhana,
okay, 4-5 sentences.
Duryodhana goes to Sahadev because Sahadev is basically very good with the astrology part. So, Duryodhana goes to Sahadev to know that how he can win the Kurukshetra wars. So, the Sahadev suggests him that he has to do he has to do one yagya on Amavasya. So
What
he can
yagya was that?
Which
Anybody
yagya was that?
remembers? Yeah, what is the name of that yagya that Sahadev is recommending? Duryodhan?
Kal Bhairav, right? Or I forget.
Kal Bali. Okay,
Kal
Kal
Bali.
Bali.
Okay, Kal Bali.
Kalbali. Okay.
Okay.
So he suggests him to do this Kalbali yagya. So which is done at the time of Amavasya. So Krishna, somehow he being a Paramatma, he knows that he came to know that Krishna is going to do the yagya. So he asks
Come little
Arjuna
closer
to
to your
do the.
mic because we can't hear you clearly. Come little closer to your mic.
It's actually I'm wearing
Yes,
these
it's
AirPods,
better
so
now, better now.
it's better. Okay. So Krishna then instead of he decides that he will and the Kalbali yagya has to be done the next day. So and at that time sun and moon are basically in the same line. So what Krishna does is he calls sun god and the moon god.
He doesn't call them. He doesn't call them.
Okay.
He calls the priests and tells them to do another yajna.
Okay. He calls the priest to do another yajna, but priest is like not very much convinced with the part because this yajna is supposed to be done the next day.
And which was that yajna?
Kalmani yajna, I think.
Krishna asked the priest to do another yajna for the
Okay.
ancestors, which is called. Okay, here are the two. He asked them to do tarpan for the pitris or pitru. And
Okay.
then the sun god and moon god come down to tell Krishna how it is. It won't be successful. It won't have any benefit because Amavasya is the next day, right? Okay, go ahead.
So
And then
Krishna
what
tells
happens?
them, and there's this point of time, like in this situation, both sun and the moon should be standing in the same line, and you two are already standing in the same line. So I can do this yajna. I think this is more about it.
So he made the Amavasya a day before. He created it by having the moon and the sun god in one line. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. And you had to do this as your homework. Identify the useful arguments for and against Devta worship and add to your portfolio. Just give a thumbs up if you did it and you made a preaching portfolio. Who all did it? Okay, I see Shambhu Rao Prabhu did it. Anybody else? Okay, Kamlavati Mataji, you did it.
Mataji,
Very, very good.
I did not make a notebook. I've taken it down I've in fact typed it on a Word document because we're starting from 7th chapter. There obviously would be some sentences from the previous
Before
chapters
that.
also. So I will
Yes,
start that
wonderful.
later. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So everyone, requesting you to please make a separate notebook, which will be your preaching portfolio, and you note down verses where you can, today's class we'll also see an argument between a temple president, Delhi temple president, Mohan Rupa Prabhuji, and a person in the audience who was impersonalist. And you might have seen it on video, it's very famous. It's an argument
Yeah, I have
between the
seen the
impersonalist and so we'll watch that today, and he'll also quote verse, that section that we're doing today. He's going to be quoting that verse. So let's dive in today's class. What to speak of worshippers of Devtas being foolish and not recognizing me? Even those who study all the scriptures, such as the Vedas, do not know the truth about me. And that's the 24th verse. Avyaktam vyatthimapannam manyate mam abuddhayaha param bhavama jananto mama vyayam anuttamam. Let's have somebody read the translation.
Unintelligent men who do not know me perfectly think that I, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, was impersonal before and have now assumed this personality. Due to their small knowledge, they do not know my higher nature, which is imperishable and supreme. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful. So Krishna is talking about avyaktam vyaktim apannam. He's saying, let me open the book also. That which is unmanifest became manifest. So avyaktim vyaktim apannam. So those who think I was unmanifest earlier and now I have become manifest, manyate mam abuddhaya. Those who think like this, they are abuddhaya. They are without intelligence. Param bhavam ajananto. They do not know my supreme nature. Param bhavam. And mam avyayam anuttamam, that I am imperishable and I am the supreme. Anuttamam, I'm the finest or the best or the supreme. So let's look at these two kind of impersonalists. One are Mayavadis and one are Brahmavadis. So Mayavadis is what Krishna is talking about in this verse 7.24. He'll also talk about them in 9.14 and 15. about the Brahmavadis, who's going to talk about in 12.3 and 2.5. So Mayavadis, they do an offense to the form of God. But Brahmavadis, they don't do any offense to the form of Lord. So Mayavadis are more dangerous. They believe that the impersonal form is the supreme most, and the form that Krishna or the absolute truth takes when he comes in this material world, his form is also Maya. So that's why they are called Mayavadis. So here, two categories, Brahmavadis and Mayavadis. Let's look at the difference. Somebody who can read quickly. You can unmute yourself and read.
Brahmavadis.
Are those who are attracted to the impersonal Brahman, but they are not offensive to the Lord's personal form or consider the Lord's form as material. It is just they are either ignorant of the personal conception or they are indifferent towards personal conception. That is, not attracted towards the personal form of the Supreme Lord. Ignorance of the personal conception or indifferent towards personal conception, that is, not attracted. For example, 4 Kumaras heard about Lord Vishnu from Brahmaji, and so they wanted to explore, and they came to Vaikunta. But when the fragrance of Tulsi offered on Lord's lotus feet entered their nostrils, it agitated their impersonal conception and they became devotees. And Srila Sukadeva Goswami heard about Krishna from one of the disciples of Srila Vyasadeva. He became attracted and came to Vyasadeva and learned further from him. Brahmavadis can be elevated to the personal conception and become devotees when they associated with the devotees. Now Mayavadis, on the other hand, are so deeply rooted in their impersonal conception that they blaspheme the transcendental form of Supreme Lord, consider it material and temporary, and as a tool to go something beyond, hence they are condemned. They are not only attracted to the impersonal conception, but they consider the personal conception of the Lord to be transitional and temporary. Hare Krishna.
And if you talk about the Bhagavad Gita, how Krishna himself says that Matta Parataram Nanyat Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, you give all these quotes, they will say that Bhagavad Gita is just a tool for us to go beyond. It is so, I mean, I'd never understood this conception where I had to also face a person who is impersonalist and have an argument just recently. Yes, Kamlavati Mataji.
I'm sorry for having so many questions, Mataji.
That's okay. Please turn your video on because I cannot see you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, there. Okay, I'm sorry. So the Brahmavadi, they do not deny the personal. Is it that they don't deny the reality of the personality of Godhead as being like having a personality and being a person?
They're just ignorant. All the notes are right here. They're just ignorant.
They're just ignorant, but then when they do become aware, then they automatically become devotees.
Yeah, when they come in contact with the devotee and they understand the form of the Lord, how that is most supreme, then they see how they're worshipping, how devotees are worshipping the Supreme Lord in his personal form. They also become attracted and they also become devotees. Yes. Okay, so Krishna says, Avyaktam Vyaktimapanna, that which is unmanifest becomes manifest. This is what these people think. They think that actually the eternal reality and that which is transcendental is the impersonal conception. So that is the impersonal conception for them is the supremost, which is the Brahman. And they think that temporarily that Brahman has manifested as Bhagavan. So here is the bottommost is the Karma Yogi who develops detachment from matter. Then higher than them is the Gyan Yogi who realizes the soul. Above them, it is the Ashtanga Yogi who meditates on the super soul. And above most, supremost is the Bhakti Yogi who loves Bhagwan. So impersonalists, by their misinterpretation, replace that which is at the bottom in the spiritual hierarchy to be the highest. So Jnana Yogi, he realizes the soul, and he thinks that that soul can become one with God. This is the conception. The absolute truth, which is the supreme-most, does not have a form, and we can become that. We can become one with that. So manyate mam abuddhaya. That's why those who think like this, they are people without intelligence. If you remember, going back to 7.19, Krishna says, no, not 19, before that, when Krishna speaks about, 20th, when Krishna starts to speak about people who worship the devatas, and he uses the word, let me see,
Tajnana.
Alpamedasa. Alpamedasam he uses in 7.23. Tat bhavati alpamedasam. So they have small intelligence. And here Krishna is calling these impersonalists abuddhaya, without intelligence. So they had little intelligence, but these are foolish people. Manyate mam abuddhaya. Those who think like this, they are people without any intelligence. And then Krishna says, Param Bhavam Ajananto, they do not know my spiritual nature. And this spiritual nature, Krishna speaks about back in 4.6. If we look at the verse, Ajopi san avyayatma, Bhutanam Ishvaropi san, Prakritim swam adhishtaya sambhavami atma mayaya. He says, although I'm unborn and my transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I'm the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. When Krishna appears on this planet, he appears in his transcendental form. He appears in a form which is spiritual. It is not material. But these people think, impersonalists think, when the Lord appears in this form, it is not superior, it is inferior, and it is in contact with material nature, then that is also Maya. So this is what they believe. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, this transcendental nature has a form, a personality, and he performs pastimes, and this higher nature, they don't know, which Krishna has spoken about again and again. 4.6, which we just quoted. 7.7 is which verse?
Mattah parataram nanyat.
Yeah, Mattah parataram nanyat. There is nothing else which is above me. Kinchit asti dhananjaya. So when Krishna has so clearly stated, then it is unwarranted to say that there is some other truth higher than Krishna. Okay, this is a verse from the Bhagavatam. Someone may say that aside from devotees who always seek shelter at the Lord's lotus feet, there are those who are not devotees but who have accepted different processes for attaining salvation. What happens to them? In answer to this question, Lord Brahma and other demigods said, O lotus-eyed Lord, although non-devotees who accept severe austerities and penances to achieve the highest position may think themselves liberated, their intelligence is impure. They fall down from their position of imagined superiority because they have no regard for your lotus feet. They say that this supreme absolute truth has no legs, no hands, no eyes, no. For them, form is not superior. Okay, you can read these later, but I'll just read out the important point. I mean, all are important, but these notes you can read later. According to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Baldev Vidyabhushan, all these notes you can read. Prabhupada says, being impersonalists, they argue about Krishna's form. Other Devata worshippers are less intelligent, but the impersonalists have no intelligence. Krishna says this himself, right? Demigod worshippers plus non-devotees engaged in Vedanta study, both are less intelligent. They do not even follow their great predecessor, Shankaracharya, who has specifically stated that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his song where he says, Bhaja Govindam Mudmate. This is by Shankaracharya. Okay, so Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be understood by mental speculation or by discussing Vedic literature or study of Vedanta. He can be understood by mercy alone. And how to get that? By devotional service. And what is to be done? By chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So this is all there in the purport. You can read all of this. They lack association of devotees, therefore they cannot understand my true nature. All right. When one is fully engaged in Krishna consciousness, beginning by chanting the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, then only can one understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All right, so link to the next verse. The non-devotees as well as the devotees cause your appearance in this world. How is it that you are visible only out of your mercy to the devotees? So beautiful verse. Krishna says, Naham prakashaha sarvasya yoga maya samavritaha muro yam nabijanati lokomam ajam avyayam. Krishna says, I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and infallible. This is the verse that Prabhuji will quote in his debate with this impersonalist. We'll watch in a few minutes. Okay, so Krishna says, Naham prakashaha sarvasya. I am not manifested to everyone. Krishna reserves the right of not revealing himself to all. And in this world, we see important people, they reserve the right to meet others, right? Or not to meet them or not to meet them. Like any prime minister of a country or a president of a country, nobody can just go meet him, right? He reserves the right. So when an important person in this material world has rights, what to speak of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? He has his rights. So a person here on earth says, I've never seen God. If he's not there, if I haven't seen him, that means he's not there. So Krishna says, I reserve the right to manifest or not to manifest. Naham prakashaha sarvatra. Sarvasya. So Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has his supreme rights. And if one approaches him with an attitude of defiance, Krishna does not manifest himself and does not reveal his glory. So this is another verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. No one can understand the transcendent, very famous verse, Ata Krishna, Shri Krishna Namadi, Na Bhaved Grayam Indriyai, Sevan Mukhehi Jivado, Swayam Eva Swaratyada. No one can understand the transcendental nature of the name, form, quality, and pastimes of Shri Krishna through his materially contaminated senses. Only when one becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service to the Lord are the transcendental name, form, quality, and pastimes of the Lord revealed to him. So by Krishna's mercy, by Krishna's grace, one who is sincerely chanting with focused dedication and he is fully surrendered unto Krishna, then Krishna may reveal himself to such a sincere devotee. So Unmukha, Krishna says, when we become Unmukha, when we turn towards Krishna and start serving Krishna sincerely with an attitude of devotion, dependence, compliance, then Krishna himself becomes manifest by his own will. So Krishna is not just seen with our eyes, but with our heart. Somebody will say that, well, Krishna was there 5,000 years ago and Duryodhan could see him, Shishupal could see him, Jarasan could see him, right? They could see him. But it is said that we cannot just see Krishna with our eyes. We have to see Krishna is seen with our heart. And if the heart does not have devotion, one may see him, but will not understand his position. So Naham and Mam, Krishna says twice in this verse. Naham is nobody can see me, aham, prakasha sarvasya. And then again he says loko mam ajam avyayam. So twice clearly stating that he's not talking about some other reality higher than him. He's talking about himself as Krishna standing in front of Arjuna. Mudhoyam nabijanati. He says, such foolish people don't know me. Loko mamajamavyayam. They cannot know that I'm unborn and imperishable. So he says, Ajo and Ajan, Avyayam. No beginning and no ending. I'm beyond time and I'm infinite. Yoga Maya Samavritaha. I'm covered by Yoga Maya. For them, I'm covered by my internal potency. So, by Yoga Maya, who else was covered? So, we in this material world are covered by not Yoga Maya, by Mahamaya, right? By this material energy, because we're deluded. We are wanting to enjoy in this material world. So, we are covered by Mahamaya. But when Krishna says over here that he covers himself by Yogamaya, the internal potency, who else is covered by Yogamaya? Who don't understand that Krishna is the supreme, but because of their love for Krishna, that is the inhabitants of Vrindavan. Vrindavan. Yashoda Maya also, all the gopis, gopas, they loved Krishna and they are covered by the Yoga Maya potency, and that's why they cannot understand the superiority, the supremacy of Krishna as Bhagavan. Even if they see how Krishna is killing all these demons, still for them, their love for Krishna, because of their love for Krishna, Yogamaya covers them, and they do not, that supremacy of Krishna does not hold importance. What is most important is their connection and their love. And Krishna reciprocates like this by covering them with his Yogamaya potency. But here he says these foolish people, they are covered by Mahamaya, but here Krishna is saying, I am covered by Yogamaya, so they cannot see me. So just like we take example of, that'll come later. So let's look at this first. Although visible, I'm invisible. Answer. So Krishna was visible to everyone when he was present on earth. How can it be said that he's not manifest to everyone? Actually, he was not manifest to everyone. Even when he was present, only a few could understand him to be Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shishupal speaking against Krishna in the assembly, whereas Bhishma and Pandavas supporting Krishna to be the Supreme Lord. Krishna was not revealed to the non-devotees and the common man. Apart from his pure devotees, all consider Krishna to be like themselves. Krishna is manifest to the devotees as the reservoir of all pleasure, covered for the non-devotees by his internal potency. Okay, so another verse. Prabhupada quotes from the Ishopanishad, Hiranya Mayena Patrena. So this all we'll do when we do Ishopanishad, but let's see the translation. Your transcendental form is covered by Yogamaya. The Brahmajyoti is the covering of the internal potency. May you kindly remove this glowing effulgence that impedes my seeing your Sachidananda Vigraha, your eternal form of bliss and knowledge. So Supreme Personality of Godhead is covered by Brahmajyoti, the internal potency, so impersonalists cannot see him. And another was quoted from the Srimad Bhagavatam, prayers by Queen Kunti. She says, Maya Javanika Chinnam. Being beyond the range of limited sense perception, you are eternally irreproachable factor covered by this curtain of deluding energy. You are invisible to the foolish observer, exactly as an actor dressed as a player is not recognized. So sometimes we see plays or we see movies where actors have, changed their form in a way that, with makeup, nobody can recognize who they are. So like that, in this verse, when Kunti is saying that just like an actor dressed as a player is not recognized, you are not recognized. You are beyond the range of limited sense perception. So what do fools not understand? I am without birth, Ajam, and I am Avyayam. Let's keep going. Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samavritaha. Prabhupada says, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that I am not exposed to everyone. There is a curtain of yoga maya. The yoga maya will not allow to see God. Just like we have our condition that if anyone wants to see here in the temple, we ask them to first take off your shoes. Just like a little condition. Similarly, to see God, there must be some condition. That condition is that unless you become a lover of God, God is not exposed to you. In other words, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, right? From the Brahma Samhita. Unless our eyes are tinged with the love or salve of devotion to Krishna, one cannot see him. So here in this slide, you see a person, his car has broken down on the freeway and he's calling the AAA person. Now there's a sound that's coming continuously from his engine and he can't even recognize where the sound is coming from. He doesn't know what to do. And then he calls AAA and these people come and this person brings out a hammer and he, hammers one place and the sound goes away. And this example was given by Gaurang Prabhu. And he said that in India, like if you take this is American people here, because when I Googled for some pictures like this, so that's why I took example of AAA. But if we go back to India and there where you call what do you call people who come and fix your cars? Mechanic. Yeah, the mechanic comes and he, tokofies or hammers a place and the sound goes away. And he's asking for 1,000 rupees and this person says 1,000 rupees for just, using your hammer at one place. And he says, no, it's just 10 rupees for, using my hammer. But the other 990 is for where it has to be, hammered. For that, I'm charging you this much. So because he has the vision, he knows he has the knowledge. So that's why example is given. Premanjana but Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. So I worship Govinda, the primary Lord, who is Shyam Sundar, Krishna himself, with inconceivable, innumerable attributes, whom the pure devotees see in their hearts of hearts with the eye of devotion tinged with the salve of love. So only this is the condition. And a beautiful example Prabhupada has given. There's a condition when you have to enter the temple to see the Lord inside the temple, you have to take off your shoes. Simple condition. So when we want to see really, want to see God in his beautiful form, personally present in front of us, there has to be some condition, and the condition is this love, that we have to have this prema, without which God reserves the right to be manifest or not to be manifest in front of us. And here is the wonderful, and it's in Hindi, I'm sorry, Momin Prabhu, but Dimpi Mataji, if she's there with you, is she there? I cannot still see her.
No, she's still not there. That's okay, Mataji. I'll understand some few words.
Okay. And when you see the recording, she can maybe translate it for you for the rest.
एक क्वेश्चन है मेरा, क्या ईश्वर से बड़ी इस संसार में कोई सत्ता है?
अगर ईश्वर से बड़ी कोई संसार में सत्ता है तो वो ईश्वर ही है, क्योंकि ईश्वर से बड़ी कोई सत्ता है नहीं।
ईश्वर का कोई आकार हो सकता है?
हाँ जी,
क्या ईश्वर का कोई आकार हो सकता है?
देखिए, आप सबसे रिक्वेस्ट है जो इस प्रकार के प्रश्न पूछ रहे हैं वो भगवत गीता पढ़िए, श्रीमद् भगवत गीता यथारूप, उसमें सारे प्रश्नों का उत्तर आपको मिलेगा।
गीता ज्यादा ऊपर है या वेद ज्यादा ऊपर है?
वेदेश सर्वेरहमेव वेद्यो वेदांत कृत वेद वेद।
संस्कृत में बोलेंगे तो सिर्फ मुझे समझ आएगा।
भगवत गीता में भगवान कह रहे 15 अध्याय के 15 श्लोक में क्या कह रहे हैं कि वेदों के द्वारा तो मुझे ही जाना है, वेदों की रचना मैंने की है, वेदों का संकलन करता मैं ही हूँ, वेदांत भी मैं ही हूँ।
तो ईश्वर है ना वेदों की रचना करने वाला?
भगवान श्री कृष्ण अपने बारे में बता रहे हैं।
तो भगवान श्री कृष्ण से पहले क्या संसार नहीं था?
संसार की उत्पत्ति भगवान से हुई, इसलिए भगवान गीता में कह रहे हैं हम सर्वस्य प्रभो
भगवान। एक मिनट गुरुजी,
और भौतिक जगत का
भगवान गीता ने तो 5000 वर्ष पहले कहा है। उससे पहले जब गीता नहीं थी, ओनली फॉर वेद का ईशोपनिषद पढ़िए, ईशावास्यविदं सर्वं यत्किंच जगत्याम जगत।
4थे अध्याय में भगवान कृष्ण बोल रहे हैं अर्जुन।
गुरुजी, गीता से पहले वेद था।
मेरे प्रश्न, आपके प्रश्न का उत्तर तो देने दीजिए मुझे। आप कह रहे हो कि भगवत गीता पहले 5000 साल पहले बोली गई। भगवान कृष्ण स्वयं गीता में बोल रहे हैं 4थे अध्याय में, इमं विश्वते योगम प्रोक्तवान अहम अव्ययम, मैंने ये दिव्य ज्ञान सूर्यदेव विश्वान को दिया 12 करोड़ साल पहले, 5000 साल पहले नहीं। आप बताइए।
ये उनके अंदर
भगवान कृष्ण ने सूर्यदेव विश्वान को दिया, और सबसे पहले भगवान ने दिव्य ज्ञान सृष्टि की प्रारंभ में, जिसका उल्लेख श्रीमद् भागवत में मिलता है, ब्रह्मा जी को दिया। और बताइए।
ऐसा नहीं है, ईश्वर ने सृष्टि के आदि काल में मात्र 4 ऋषियों को वेदों का ज्ञान दिया, और भगवान कृष्ण खुद वेद पढ़ करके गीता जैसा अमर ग्रंथ बोलने के काबिल हुए, ऐसा शास्त्र प्रमाण है।
शास्त्र में कहीं भी इस प्रकार का वर्णन नहीं है।
क्या भगवान
दिखा दीजिए पहले।
क्या भगवान नहीं, भगवान राममान नहीं थे, उन्होंने तो गीता का अध्ययन नहीं किया, गीता का अध्ययन नहीं किया।
गीता का अध्ययन भगवान को करने की आवश्यकता नहीं है, क्योंकि वो भगवान है। गीता का अध्ययन आपको और मुझे करना होगा।
क्यों? एक मिनट गुरुजी, भगवान का अर्थ क्या होता है?
गीता का अध्ययन
भगवान का अर्थ क्या होता है?
मुझे करना है।
भगवान का अर्थ क्या होता है? एक परिवार के लिए पति भगवान नहीं होता, उसी प्रकार से भग कल्याणार्थक धातु होती जिसके 6 अर्थ निकलते हैं।
दर्जा दिया जाता है, सम्मान किया जाता है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि वो भगवान है।
भाई परिवार के लिए वो भगवान है। भगवान कृष्ण ने पूरे संसार के लिए कल्याण का काम किया, वो संसार के भगवान है। इसी प्रकार से आप देखिए, कोई कुल भगवान होते हैं, कोई गांव के भगवान का मतलब ये है कि आप संसार के अच्छे काम करने लगो, आप भगवान बन जाओगे। ईश्वर भगवान नहीं हो सकता। दोनों के बहुत बड़े अंतर है, मैं इसको व्याकरणिक अर्थ से निकाल सकता हूं।
ईश्वरा परमा कृष्ण सच्चिदानंद विग्रह अनादिरादिर गोविंदा सर्व कारण कारण। परम ईश्वर भगवान श्री कृष्ण है, सच्चिदानंद विग्रह है, सभी कारणों के कारण है, वो अनादि है, उनका कोई आदि नहीं है। ब्रह्मा जी कह रहे हैं ब्रह्म संहिता में,
अगर भगवान कृष्ण खुद ईश्वर हैं तो उन्हें ईश्वर की आराधना करने की क्यों आवश्यकता पड़ी?
जाना है, आपके बहुत सारे प्रश्न हैं, आप कभी समय लेकर हमारे पास आइएगा, क्योंकि बहुत सारे।
मेरा एक ही प्रश्न और है, अगर भगवान कृष्ण खुद ईश्वर हैं तो उन्हें ईश्वर की आराधना करने की आवश्यकता क्यों पड़ी?
भगवान कुछ भी कर सकते हैं। भगवान तो अर्जुन का रथ भी चला सकते हैं, भगवान शिव जी को जल भी चढ़ा सकते हैं, वो भगवान की इच्छा है, वो कुछ भी करें। हम क्यों उनको चुनौती दे रहे हैं? भगवान ने ऐसा क्यों किया?
तो भगवान और ईश्वर में अंतर है। ईश्वर निराकार है तो उसका आकार हो ही नहीं सकता। वेद खुद कहता है ईशा वास्मितम सर्वम यत् किंच जगत्याम तक्तेन भुंजिता। ईश्वर और गीता खुद कहती है, भीष्म पितामह खुद कहते हैं
ईशावास्यम इदम सर्वम यत् किंच जगत्याम। जगत का मतलब ये है कि जो भी आप खुद देख रहे हैं, चेत हो अचेत हो, एनिमेट हो इनएनिमेट हो, इट्स ओन एंड कंट्रोल्ड बाय द सुप्रीम लॉर्ड।
हाँ, तो वो परमात्मा सुप्रीम पावर है, और जो भी उसके भक्त हैं, वो भगवान कृष्ण हो, भगवान राम हो, जो भी हो, वो सिर्फ और सिर्फ भगवान है। उन्होंने सिर्फ ईश्वर के प्रति जाने के लिए आग्रह मात्र किया है।
बुरा मत मानेगा, आप जो सिद्धांत बोल रहे हैं, दर्शन बोल रहे हैं, उसको मायावाद कहते हैं।
वो तो
और हमारे शास्त्रों में
दर्शन का अर्थ ही क्या है?
मायावादी भाष्य सुने होए सर्वनाश।
दर्शन का अर्थ ये दर्शन नीति दर्शन जो हमें दर्शन करा दे उसी को दर्शन कहते हैं।
भगवत गीता में 12वें अध्याय में भगवान कह रहे हैं क्लेशो अधिक
मेरा एक ही क्वेश्चन है, क्या गीता से पहले जीवन नहीं था?
जो निर्विषय निराकार ब्रह्म के ऊपर ध्यान लगाता है, ऐसा मार्ग बड़ा कठिनाइयों से बीतता है।
क्या गीता से पहले जीवन नहीं था?
गीता से पहले जीवन था जो भगवान के द्वारा निर्देशित था।
तो अगर हम वो तो वेदों में निर्देशित था, हम गीता की
तो इसलिए भगवान बोल रहे हैं गीता में वेदैश्वर सर्वैरहम अहम एव वेद्यो वेदांत कृत वेदवित एव चाहम। वेदों की रचना मैंने की है, वेदों का संकलन करता मैं हूँ, वेदों के द्वारा मुझे जानना है, वेदांत मैं हूँ।
ईश्वर का न कभी जन्म होता है, न कभी वो मरता है। भगवान कृष्ण का जन्म हुआ है,
इसलिए भगवान गीता के 4थे अध्याय में कह रहे हैं
जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम हो सकते, महान पुरुष
जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम एवं वेति तत्वतः त्यक्त्वा देहम पुनर्जन्म नैति मामेति स अर्जुना। भगवान कहते हैं मेरा जन्म और मेरा कर्म दोनों ही दिव्य है।
तो भगवान कृष्ण जी का तो जन्म हुआ है? भगवान कृष्ण का तो जन्म हुआ है,
जन्म हुआ है। सूर्य देव प्रकट होते हैं, सूर्य देव अप्रकट होते हैं। सूर्य देव का जन्म होता है, देखा आपने?
सूर्य अनादिकाल से है।
हाँ, तो इसी तरह से भगवान कृष्ण भी अनादिकाल से है।
मेरा एक ही मानना है कि ईश्वर से बड़ी ना किसी भगवान की सत्ता है, ना कोई जो जन्म लिया है वो मरेगा, ये सार्वभौम सत्य है। इस कारण से भगवान कृष्ण ने भी जन्म लिया, वो भी महान पुरुष हुए, ईश्वर नहीं थे। उन्होंने संसार के कल्याण के लिए बहुत सी उपदेश दिए, या बाबा तुलसी ले लो, वाल्मीकि ले लो, व्यास जी ले लो, इसी प्रकार से वो भी थे। अगर हम उन्हें निराकार मानेंगे, निराकार का कोई आकार नहीं हो सकता, ईश्वर ही निराकार है, बाकी सब उसके भक्त हैं।
ऐसे संसार में कौन सी व्यक्ति है जो निराकार से निकली हो, बताइए मुझे।
क्या चीज?
ऐसी कौन सी वस्तु है जो निराकार से निकली हो, जिसकी उत्पत्ति निराकार से हुई, बताइए बताइए। सूर्य जो है, सूर्य का प्रकाश से सूर्य निकला है, या सूर्य देव से सूर्य जो है, सूर्य ग्रह से सूर्य का प्रकाश निकलता है?
अगर आप केन उपनिषद पढ़ेंगे,
ये लाइट बल्ब से आ रही है, लाइट से बल्ब निकल रहा है।
पहले लाइट आई है ना, पहले लाइट, एक मिनट, पहले लाइट आई है।
हम प्रकाश सर्वस्य योग माया समावृता मूलो अयम ना भी जानाति लोको माम अजम अव्ययम। भगवान कह रहे हैं योग माया के द्वारा ढक देता हूं मैं अपने आप को, और जो मूर्ख व्यक्ति है मुझे नहीं समझ पाते।
So he quoted that verse 7.25 in the ending. Foolish people cannot understand me. We'll keep going. We'll come to the last section of this chapter and we'll finish with that. Krishna says, so this is from delusion by Maya to devotion to Krishna. Balakrishna Prabhu, you raised your hand?
Yes, Mataji, if you got time only. Because this is regarding this Mayavad, 24 shloka, this Avyaktam Yaktimapannam. How this Mayavadis tell it. They tell Avyaktam, even though I am unmanifest. They tell he is unmanifest, Avyaktam. And they think I am a personal, Vyaktimapannam. So, Manyante, they say that Abuddhayaha, they are less intelligent because they are saying I am personal, even though I am Avyakta. This one Mayavadi lecture, I was not knowing, she was telling Bhagavatam, then I heard this and immediately we left the place from there. How they split it, Shankaracharya. Avyaktam. I am impersonal. I am unmanifest. You are declaring that. This is how
That's how they twist his words. Yes, Prabhu.
Jugglery.
Jugglery. All right. Thank you for sharing. From delusion by Maya to devotion to Krishna. This is the last section. 7.26 Vedaham samatitani vartamani cha Arjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kashana. O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me no one knows. So Krishna is like the sun and clouds are like Maya. And people on earth who are the living entities, they sometimes cannot see the Lord, or they mostly cannot see the Lord, just like the sun is covered by the clouds. So if the sun is like Krishna and the clouds are like Maya, because of Maya, Krishna is covered. So the clouds apparently seem to cover the sun, but the sun is not actually covered, right? The sun is so great, nothing can cover it. But because we are here in the material world, subjected to the modes of material nature, the clouds as if cover the sun. Similarly, by internal potency, Krishna does not manifest himself to the less intelligent class of men, but actually Maya cannot cover the Supreme Lord. So it is as if Maya has covered the Lord, but he cannot be covered. The knowledge given in the Bhagavad Gita moves in a helix-like fashion. We always talk about this. First time when I started when I joined the Bhagavad Gita classes, Tukaram Prabhu explained how beautifully this Bhagavad Gita is moving in a helix-like fashion, just like a ball. If you roll it on the ground, it rotates also and it's going forward also. So some information or principles that Krishna has given earlier, he'll repeat them, but he'll give more information along with them. So 7.5, if you remember, Krishna said, personality of Godhead said, many, many births, both you and I have passed. I remember all of them, but you cannot. O subduer of enemies. So I think this was 4th chapter, if I'm not, I think by mistake I've put 7.5, but this was, I think, 4th chapter where when Arjuna says, how can I believe that you have given this knowledge to the sun god, remember? Because your birth is after the sun god's birth. So this is 7.4. Sorry for that. No, 7.5, where Krishna says, many, many births you and I have passed. So this is 4.5 instead of 7.5. And now in 7.26, Krishna is giving more information about the same fact that there he said, many, many births you and I have passed. You don't remember, but I remember. Here he's saying, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all the things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me, no one knows. And because of this verse, many people say, if Krishna knows everything that is going to happen in the future, then what is the fact about free will? Krishna has also given us free will that we can choose what we want to do. Then how does he already know the future? So for this, our acharyas tell us that our free will, this is the different trajectories that can happen. So we have a free will and we can make choices. Here you just see choice 1, 2, 3, and 4, but there could be many, many more choices. And according to the choices that we make, what result will come, those all results Krishna knows. So we still have our free will and we can choose to do what we want to do. And what will happen in the future because of making that choice, Krishna knows all of those results. Okay, so we'll keep moving. These are notes from the purport. You can read this. Well, one paragraph we'll read. If the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead were Maya, he would change his body and forget everything about his past life, like the living entity. So another proof, Prabhupada is saying, if he was like any other living entity, then he would also forget his past lives. And how would he know anything about the future lives? But because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he knows about the past and present and the future. Okay, so let's keep going. 7.27. So, Ichchadvesha samuttena dvandva mohena bharata sarvabhutani sammoham sargeyanti parantapa. O Scion of Bharata, the conqueror of the four, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arisen from desire and hate. So, Ichcha Dvesha Samuttena, arisen because of Ichcha Dvesha, desire, and because of aversion. Dvandva Mohena Bharata, there are two kinds of delusion, where Krishna says, Sarva Bhutani Sammoham, all living entities become deluded, Sammoham, Sargeyanti Parantapa, all at the time of giving birth, O conqueror of enemies, Parantapa. So Sammoham is complete delusion, Dvanda Moha is the dualities, and Ichcha Dvesha is desire and hate. So because of this, all of this, they're bewildered and they're born into this delusion, Krishna is saying. So deluded people symptomatically dwell on dualities like dishonor, honor, pleasure, pain, misery, happiness, etc., etc. And Dvanda Moha is in the form of desire and hatred from objects favorable to the senses for things which obstruct the pleasure of the senses. So this is desire and hatred. Prabhupada says the illusory energy is manifested in the duality of hatred and desire. So first, let's look at example of if a person wants to go watch a movie in the theaters. So he's gone there, he's sitting there. That is first illusion, right? Where he wants to be illusioned by this Maya. Actually, it is not true what is happening in the movie. He's sitting down and he's watching. Then he tries to identify himself or herself with the actress or the actor. And whatever happens in the movie, he also goes through those emotions. That's why we see people tearing up, crying, because they're identifying themselves with those personalities within the movie. Actually, it's not true. But so much the lights are off and the movie is going on and they are there in the movie, so much present in the movie. And this is our condition in this material world with the desire and hate. So actually, it is not there. The actor who's acting, he might have a heroine who he loves, and then there might be a villain who he hates. So we also, those emotions are invoked within us also. We start to like those, scenes where he is with the love of his heart, and then those emotions that are coming up, which there's hatred and there's fight and all those things when the villain is there. So all these emotions are invoked. Actually, they're not true. They are because of the dualities around us. So arising from previous actions, Prabhupada says, give rise to illusion of duality, of respect and disrespect, hot and cold, happiness and distress, and man, woman and man. A person thinks, I'm happy being respected and I'm sad being disrespected. This is my wife, this is my husband, I'm master of this house, I'm the husband of this wife. Dualities give rise to complete ignorance and moha, so dvanda moha. And some moham, that in turn gives rise to complete bewilderment. Some moham, extreme attachment to wife and sons. Absorbed in such illusory conceptions, they become bewildered. Like the person gets bewildered watching the movie. And suddenly when the movie ends and the lights turn on, sometimes I remember when I was really small, my parents used to take me for movies, and in the end when the lights are on and you have to stand up and walk, you really can't, is because you're so much in the movie still, all those scenes are going in your mind and coming out of it takes time. So similar, in this material world, people get bewildered because of these situations and because of the dualities. Rarity of knowing Krishna, since all living beings are bewildered in this way, one who knows me is very rare. Those deluded are completely foolish, cannot understand the Supreme Lord, being deeply absorbed in dualistic feelings. I'm happy, I'm sad. They are not able to have knowledge about my identity. Pure devotees are not deluded by desire and hate, can understand that the Lord appears by his internal potencies. Madhvacharya says, which duality must be cultivated? So this is really nice. He's taking the negative to positive. He's saying real knowledge is to understand duality between living entity and the Lord. That we are Anu and he's Vibhu. All other dualities are illusory and known as Dvanda Moha, or a delusion of dualities. Okay, so link to the next verse. Those eligible for elevation to transcendental position are mentioned in this verse, 7.28. Yesham tvantagatam papam jnanam jananam punya karmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam dhradavrataha. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. So let's look at the verse. Yesham tva antagatam papam. Krishna says, but those people, But for those people, their sins, whose sins have ended, antagatam papam, their papa has ended, all their papam have ended. Jananam punya karmanam, those people have performed pious deed in their previous lives or present life. Te dvandva moha nirmukta, they are freed from dualities of delusion. Bhajante mam dhridavrita, with determination, they start to worship me. So, if you remember 4 kinds of people who start to worship Krishna, right? Here, that was beginning to worship Krishna. Here, Krishna is talking about how one can install oneself in bhakti steadily. After starting to worship Krishna, how we can be steady or we can be determined in our bhakti. Krishna is saying that one should gradually keep avoiding sins and keep doing pious deeds. Then gradually the effects of lower modes decreases and one becomes situated more and more in goodness, from where one eventually comes to transcendence and one performs bhakti steadily. Bhajante mam dhridavrita. Example given by acharyas is, if the wood has to steadily catch fire, then it has to first become dry. Then further, any fall of water on that wood has to be avoided. Right? If the wood is wet, then the contact with the spark doesn't cause the wood to catch fire. So getting rid of all the papam is like the wood getting dry, and not doing papa further or impious deeds further is like not putting water on that wood. So similarly, our wood-like hearts are illumined by bhakti when we come in contact with a pure devotee who's serious practitioner of bhakti. He's like a spark in his association. Our heart also is illumined by the spark, by his spark. When we are in the modes of ignorance, then our heart is wet and cannot really make much steady spiritual advancement. That's why these 2 things, giving up sin and doing piety, help our heart to come in to goodness, and then bhakti can move forward steadily. Okay, so those having punya karma have destroyed sins partially, developed predominance of sattva and diminished tamoguna, decrease in illusion, less attached, chances to associate with devotees, become completely free of sin by practice of worshipping Krishna. Then they're freed completely from illusion, they become steady in worship. So this is like a cycle. And this was Kauna Bhagya Karo Samsara Shayan Shayon Mukhahaya Sadhu Sangha Tabe Krishna Rati Upajaya. So this is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita also. Translation is, by good fortune one becomes eligible to cross the ocean of nations, and when one's term of material existence decreases, one may get an opportunity to associate with pure devotees. By such association, one's attraction to Krishna is awakened. Okay, so Prabhupada says, for whom it is difficult to worship me, very difficult to transcend duality of desire and hate, for those who are sinful, atheistic, foolish, and deceitful, forgetting one's constitutional position as subordinate to the Supreme Lord, is the greatest violation of God's law. Okay, and those who have passed their lives in practicing the regulative principles of religion, satata yuktanam, acted piously, punya karmanam, and conquered sinful reactions, antagatam papam, can accept devotional service and gradually rise to the pure knowledge of Supreme Personality of Godhead. They only can meditate in trance on the Lord. And you can read all these notes. Okay, there's another type of Sakama Bhakta. This is stated in this verse. So 4 kind of people who come to Krishna, right? The first 3, Artha, Jignasu, and Artharthi. They 3 are Sakama Bhaktas because they are seeking something in return, except for the Jnani. Jnani is separate. So first 3 are the Sakam Bhaktas, but in this verse 7.29, Krishna is talking about another Sakami Bhakta. And which are those? Jara marana mokshaya mam ashritya yatantite te brahma tad vidu kritsnam adhyatmam karma chakilam. Krishna says, intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death take refuge in me in devotional service. They are actually Brahman because they entirely know everything about transcendental activities. So these Sakami Bhaktas who are wanting liberation from old age and death, they also take refuge in Krishna. So Mokshakami Bhakta, intelligent persons who are endeavoring for liberation from old age and death, Jara Marana Mokshaya, take my shelter, Mam Ashritya, in devotional service. They're actually Brahman because they entirely know all about Brahman, the self and transcendental activities, Adhyatmanam Karma. So which means that they know I'm a spark of Krishna and Krishna is the supreme. I need to worship him to get liberated from this old age and death. Again, they're seeking something. They're wanting to be liberated from Jara and old age and death. Okay, so let's keep going. These are notes that you can read later. 7.30. We'll do a summary in the end, and we'll also look at this verse at that time. Sadi bhutadhi daivam mam sadi yagyam cha yed viduhu prayana kale pichamam te vidur yukta chetasaha. Those in full consciousness of me, who know me, the Supreme Lord, to be the governing principle of the material manifestation of the demigods and of all methods of sacrifice, can understand and know me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death. Let's look at the verse. Sani Bhuta Adidaiva Mam. He says, governing principle of material nature, which is, so Krishna is using three more terms over here. Let's look at these terms. Adi Bhuta, which is governing principle of material manifestation, Adi Daiva, controller of the demigods, and Adi Yagya, lord of sacrifices. And next chapter begins with Arjun asking about these terms. Can you explain what these terms mean? So Krishna is bringing these terms and Arjun will ask about what they are in the next chapter, first verse. So let's look at, in this chapter, Krishna has described 6 kinds of devotees. So Artha, Artharthi, Jignasu, Mokshakami are the 4 who are Sakamakamis. Sakama Bhaktas. There is the Jnani who also surrenders to Krishna. And then there is the Kevala Bhakta, pure devotee, which Krishna speaks about in 7.19. He says, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanvam Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamati Sarmahatma Sudurlabha. That was the Kevala Bhakta. So let's look at, here is the breakdown of which verse Krishna has mentioned these kind of devotees. So 4 types of Sakama devotees. 3 are Artha, Jignasu, Artharthi mentioned in 7.16 and 1 Mokshakami mentioned in 7.29. Then the Jnani mentioned also in 7.16, Kevala Bhakta in verse number 1 and 7.19. Okay, how to become Krishna conscious? Association puts one directly in touch with Supreme Lord. By his grace, one can understand Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the constitution position of the living entity, how the living entity forgets Krishna and gets entangled. Forgetfulness leads to conditioning, the rare opportunity in this human life to regain Krishna consciousness, fully utilized to attain the mercy of the Lord. Okay, so this is the summary of the verses that we did today from 7:26 to 30th. You can take a look later and you can make your notes. And here is the activity that we will do again. This will add to your preaching portfolio. So verse number 7.24, I will stop the recording here because